Psyche Cross. Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with another reaction, debut reaction this time, and it's a little bit late, we're sorry, but we'll be reacting to Omega X for the very first time, obviously.
Yes, so today we are reacting to Omega X and their debut song, Vamos, that just came out a few days ago. Sorry we're a little bit late with this one. This came out the morning that I left Peyton's apartment, and I was on a train, and then since then we've just been really busy, so it's coming out now. Sorry about that. We were intrigued by this group when we first heard about them because we have learned that they are an 11-member group from Spire Entertainment, but every single member is like a former member of a group before. But we have watched the teaser beforehand, so we like kind of know what to expect. Not really. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's go! A cactus.
Yes. Very on brand for...
They're in the desert.
Oh, it's really... okay. Right from the start.
Distorted horns. I mean, yeah, I kind of figured that they would have a lot of, like, Spanish words in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Oh!
I like how the call and response is in the song and the dance.
Oh! Sorry, that sudden just caught me off guard.
Oh, glamour shots. Right, debut song.
얼씨구나. That line in the background, the theme. What is that played on? Or is it just like a MIDI? How they've chosen to do these glamour shots is really interesting. The random in the... Oh, what? Oh, I guess, yeah.
Show me what's on the floor.
Oh. Electric line. They should use that more.
There's so many levels, which is so nice since there's 11 members.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
Oh, they're
Party.
doing an outro. I was wondering what they were gonna do.
And this is like cool dancing, like, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that was a nice ending. The first thing I want to say say is it's really interesting to see all 11 of them performing together. I don't know all of the members, but I am familiar with a good number of the members from their previous groups or shows that they've been on. And I guess mostly I was just curious how they would mesh as a group, because I've talked before how it can take time to develop like synergy as one unit. They all originally are from different groups, different companies, and so they've also been trained differently. Even when you go like have new teachers or something, that original training sticks in your body, so it can have an effect. But I was really pleasantly surprised. Like, I think if I hadn't known their background and where they came from, I would have just thought they were a group that had been training together for many years. And I think that that's really attributed to their determination and also professionalism, that they look like they've been performing together for years. That was really like a nice surprise. But a couple of things about the dance. So I mentioned the call and response because there's a lot of that in the song. It's reflected in the dance. And I liked how it was reflected in the dance because they would do the same moves that like the first person would say the word and then everyone else would repeat it back. But the first person would do the move by themselves and then everyone else would do it all together afterwards. But rather than it looking exactly the same, it felt a lot more like when you're actually repeating something back to someone you're talking to, sort of like affirming it, and your tone of voice will change. Like, let's go, that sort of thing. That's how the dance felt. Like, it was just a little bit different, sort of like you're actually talking. And I don't know, there was something very pleasing about that. But also, there's a lot going on in the song, like a lot of lines going on. They are doing their best to highlight as many of them as possible in the choreography, which makes it feel like a big fiesta. Like, I'm imagining this huge party with like a lot going on, very bright colors. That's the feeling the dance gives you. And they're doing that mostly through their arm movements, especially in the chorus. There's a lot of very detailed, quick arm movements that highlight like little lines in songs, and it'll also jump from line to line as they're doing the movement. And that's really interesting too, because they'll go from like something smoother to like whacking, because they'll have switched lines that they're highlighting. And like, honestly, when I was thinking about it afterwards, like trying to think, what picture does this give me when I just think about the feeling that the song and the performance gave to me as I was watching it? I was imagining just an explosion of confetti, like an explosion of confetti, and then everything like it's twirling down. It's a lot of colors. And I think that's really appropriate for like the song and for the lyrics and just like this party that they're having. But on a similar note, the ending is really impactful because during that outro, I said like, oh, now they're doing sort of like cooler dances, like trendier dances, but they also come into like a group and they're moving forward. And so it's like they're literally bringing the party to you, and it's a little overwhelming but very impactful right at the end, and then they like stomp and it's over. And so it's like, oh, because it's that sudden stop after the explosion of confetti in my mind. But that's all I have to say. Anna's turn.
It's time for my comments, and the first thing that I wrote down was just the word so. The vibes. And what I mean by that is just like the energy that I was getting. First of all, when Peyton said a little overwhelming, I scoffed because I was like, I felt very overwhelmed because there's just so much energy coming at you the whole time. And in that way, it's kind of similar to debuts that we think of in K-pop, that they're trying to show as much energy as possible, but it's also very different because all of these people have experience. Like, they're much more experienced than like the average K-pop debut that you're going to see. And also this song is with the intention of being like very in your face, overwhelming with all this energy. So there's just a lot coming at you. Talking about the actual song, there's a theme that you hear from the very beginning, the da 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 whatever, that continues on throughout the entire song. Like, the only time that that theme isn't playing is during the pre-choruses and during the bridge. So it's there for the verses and it's there for the choruses. It's a very interesting line because I said horns, but it's also like been very distorted, sort of muted. There's a lot more depth to an actual horn, and it like rings out and it's like a whew. But this one has been muted and distorted, so it like kind of, it still rings out a little bit, but it's like a jab sort of instead with every single note that's played. There are a few times though when it switches up, besides like not being played in the pre-choruses and the bridge like I mentioned, but it switches up in the second verse rap section where it becomes even more muted, which is interesting because there is more sort of silence in the second verse. It's mainly just like all these percussive lines so you can focus on the voices even more. Basically it becomes more like another percussive line, and then it also changes in the final outro section because the rhythm completely changes. So it's more like straightforward sort of beat. Having a straightforward beat creates this like driving feeling so that the energy can build even more for the ending Like I was saying, I felt overwhelmed because the song just like does not let up. There's like not a lot of silence moments in it. Even in the pre-chorus, when the theme that I was talking about isn't played, there's still a beat divide. The bridge is the biggest change where like the vibe completely changes, but the way that they're singing during the bridge is still very like aggressive, sort of in your face. It's not like as much of a break, like as pulled back as like you expect, but that makes sense because this song is all about like a fiesta. It's a big party. They're like, can you handle this energy? No, I don't think you can, in the lyrics as well. Also, I just suddenly thought of it. Oh my gosh, the bridge sort of like winds down. Is that their siesta before the really, really big fiesta for the ending? They also use electric guitar towards the end of it, like I mentioned. And I said in the reaction, I was like, they should have used that more. And I stand by that, partially because I like the sound of electric guitar, but I also think like it would bring a different style and sound to the song. Maybe if they even like used it in the ending too. And then lastly, they had a lot of like different ad-libs and like ornaments here and there, like the gunshot sounds in the beginning. In the pre-chorus, there's this high sort of like dude synth line. Anyways, that's all I had to say. Oh, right. So I think it's my turn to TLDR. Peyton just gave me like eyes. TLDR for the song and reaction is Omega X, congratulations on your debut. And you have debuted with a bang. Like, not just a bang, but a bang. Like, this song truly is just like a big fiesta, and that's reflected in the song but also in their dance and performance as well. So excited to see what's going to happen in the future.
But that being said, if you would like to talk more about Omega X, this song, anything really, parties, fiestas, who knows, then you can follow us on our socials and feel free to come fangirl with us there. And if you enjoyed this reaction video, then please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and bye!